Hello once again, YouTube. Crisstek here, bringing you some Feed the Beast, and we've got a bit of an update. As you can see, another one of my clones is sitting here in front of the camera. Well, not the camera, but myself. I love this mod, and I think I'm going to use this intro every single time. It's just great. Anyway, as you can see, I'm sitting in what appears to be some sort of grid-like layout, and this is actually the beginnings of the updated map that I'm using for the project. This is just how I am going to be figuring out where everything goes. If you remember the old map, it did have a big hole in the center, and by old I mean the map that I showed in the last episode. You should remember it from the last episode. The city has a big hole right here. If you don't know what that's all about, basically parts of the city are going to be underground, sort of inspired by the whole concept of having an underground base, as well as having a city that's partially underground, because I think that's cool, and I think that's what would happen. If we can't go up anymore, we can't go vertically into the sky, we would go vertically into the ground. So I think that makes some sort of sense in the future, maybe, I don't know. It does, at least with my city. So it's also inspired by that trailer for the game 13, I think, Star Wars 1313, that never came out. There's a part where they descend into the depths of Coruscant via this massive hole that brings them to each of the levels, and I think that's pretty neat. So that's something that I'm going to have in my city, and even though there's a void underneath, you know, the world, it doesn't go on forever, I have a way of giving the illusion of a never-ending tunnel that just burrows deeper into the earth. Excuse me for the coughing. Oh my god. That's the worst. So yeah, I have a way of, you know, giving the impression that the world continues to go on. It's infinite. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty cool what I've got planned. And in the future, you'll see that implemented, because there is going to be underground structures, and it's going to get a lot more intense as we go underground. It's going to get a lot more dangerous and secretive, and there's going to be just vast areas underground that, you know, take care of very specific things, and I think it was going to be, I thought it was going to be a cool idea, so I'm going to do that, but that's a far off in the future part of this project. So yeah, I have a grid-like layout down. I have mapped out an area on a new save, and the plan is to copy over some of the structures and then continue building on this new map, and the reason I did that was because the old map had small biomes, and I don't think I placed the first initial buildings right. Like, they're kind of close to stuff that I don't want them to be close to. And with the new map that I have increased the size of biomes, and it just looks better. It's gonna look better. I've also adjusted which biomes are, you know, spawning with the new map via the config files, and that is great, because that means I don't have to deal with snow. It means I don't have to deal with really overtly green, you know, biomes, things like the garden biome, which is just terrible for this project. Not saying that the garden biome is terrible in general, just terrible for the project. So we'll take a look at that right now. I just wanted to show you that there is a grid layout, and I'm making some sort of progress in both of these worlds. I haven't actually made any new buildings. I would, but I think the priority first is getting an actual layout for the city down. So this is going to lag for a bit, because I have brought the buildings from my other save over. I did this with MC Edit, which is a phenomenal tool for this project. Without it, it would not be possible to do any of this, and I'd probably cry. And this project would probably not even continue without MC Edit. So once everything decides to load in, hopefully, I am standing on the corner of a chunked off section, something that I've broken. Oh, it appears that I did not bring that up enough. I'll just drop down. You can see some of the roads are already here. In an attempt to remove some of the tile entities, I have converted this sidewalk into just a flat, flush border stone. Hopefully the border stone itself is not a tile entity, but that's something I'll have to check. But essentially, before, it was like a panel that was on the ground, and you could like step up onto the sidewalk. but I realized that that's just unnecessary tile entities and I don't really need it, so I got rid of it. And here you can see me laying out plots for the city, and this is all based on that same grid, and I could show you that it is starting to take shape. This is something that I managed to accomplish in about like an hour or two's worth of time. It takes me a while because I'm a procrastinator and I just I just sit there and like not do things while I'm supposed to be doing things. But I've got the two buildings right here from the other save. And I just realized I'm kind of killing myself with some of the space that I need to be utilizing. Oh my. And it didn't occur to me how big this city was going to get until I saw some of this. Because I planned on having it be a lot denser, and it's turning out it's going to be like really not as dense as I wanted so many buildings in just this area, and now I'm realizing that in just this little block, I only get 1, 2, 3, 4, I get 8. That's not dense. That is not dense at all. But you get an idea for how big the building plots are with this system, because I'm starting to lay them out. So right here we would have 4 buildings. The plots seem really big and open, but the buildings are very tall, and I'm hoping that makes up for it. If it doesn't, oh well. I can cover the streets in tons of stuff, and I can put all sorts of things inside the streets. Somebody complained, well, I wouldn't say complained, but somebody pointed out that even though it's a cyberpunk city that I'm going for, and you know, it looks great and all, it's still not dense enough for it to really capture the feel. And there are plans to make a dense section of the city, stuff that looks and has the same feel as all of this stuff that you see spawning in right now, but it's going to be like incredibly dense. Like if you're on a street and you're walking, I mean, with the current view that I have right now, this street feels about right. You know, it feels just about right. I feel like this is about how big the street should be, and that's good, because that's how big the streets are supposed to be. That's how big all of them are that I have designed, right? But there's just going to be a wall of buildings, and it's going to be like at least as tall as that, at least. And what I'm thinking is there's going to be a section of the city completely like this. And if I go back to the map, if I can press the right button, I have areas designated where things are going to go. So up here in this area, it's what is this? What kind of biome is this? It's a steppe. In this area, this steppe biome, right, there's going to be an incredibly dense city. And basically it's all going to be modular buildings, and I'll be able to design them myself, because this is something that SimCity doesn't have, which is where I'm basing the building designs off of. I'm going to design those buildings myself. I have no problem doing that. I think I'm capable of doing that. They're going to be densely packed. There's going to be hardly any space between them at all. Maybe some alleyways for some really cool, you know, dynamic environments, I guess. You know, things like back alleys and dumpsters and places where the electrical boxes are and stuff. Things like that. But there's going to be like really dense buildings. They're all going to be modular. And basically I'll just be able to copy and paste them where I need them. I'll design like a couple dozen different sections, and then I can copy and paste them where I need them to be. And the reason I'm doing copy and paste is because this city is so big that I really don't want to design individual buildings like for every single block. And not only that, eventually I'm going to run out of things from SimCity to design. And I'm personally like not interested in designing my own buildings for this project until I have to. I do want to design the modular section because I think that's cool, and modular is nice, and I can handle modular, but designing an entire building that looks as nice as the ones that are already provided by SimCity's expansion pack is just too much for me. I'd rather just make things easier on myself and do that. I kind of feel cheap about it because I'm always taking designs from other places and using them in my work, but at the same time, this is not a big as project as, say, StarMade is. I don't think it's important. I don't think as many people care about it. So I'm gonna make it easy on myself. I'm not gonna put as much effort into this. I don't think that's necessary. But as you can see, it's quite an expansive area. I turned all of the ground underneath it to stone, but there are still like tons of caves underneath, so I'm wondering if I should fix that. And if we come over here, there's a few areas that I didn't lay out yet with Oh wait, actually no, this is going to be a mega tower. There's going to be another mega tower over here, similar to that one, but it's going to be more elegant. And I have areas for the city planned. I can show you those now. Let's see. Over here, in this bog, or whatever it's called, I think it's actually a sludge pit. It's got like a very green atmosphere. I can teleport over there right now, actually. Miles will. We'll turn it to noon. And if I come down here, you can see that it looks very toxic. So I'm thinking that this coastline is perfect for where I want the factories, because it actually works well with the design that I wanted. I wanted like an industrial coastline, right? So this entire coast is going to be like medium wealth and low wealth industrial factories and complexes. And then down at the bottom, we're going to have high wealth like labs, right? Because in SimCity, the industry turns from like factories to like chemical plants to like high-tech labs. So that's the plan for that. This side of the city is going to be all high wealth buildings. They're going to be really nice. Some of them are going to be more white as they approach the coast, but as they go in towards the center of the city, they're going to actually turn black, because I want the city to look and feel very dark. It's going to look more like Coruscant as you go towards the center of the city, I guess. And then we're going to have some medium wealth. I'm guessing like in this area. I don't really know how much medium wealth I need. It all depends on the numbers from SimCity. I still want to make a city that seems correct in terms of, you know, the proportions of the types of buildings. Again, though, I'm not going to put that much effort into it because I don't really think that's necessary. And then over here is going to be like low wealth. There's going to be slums in this area. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. Also, there's this mountain range over here, and if I teleport back to the city, you should be able to see that in the background there, and it looks really cool. So I'm thinking I'm gonna keep that. That would be great. See, now here's the thing. Teleporting into the area is a terrible idea because of all the tile entities. The computer can handle it. Somebody was worried that my computer wouldn't be able to handle it. It's not that the computer can't handle it, it's that trying to load it in is what slows down the computer. So if I'm running around, or if I'm flying, like faster than walking pace, it will have a troubled time loading in all this stuff as fast as it needs to load in. And that's why it's like that. I mean, there's certainly ways that I can reduce the number of tile entities. I'll see if I can do that, especially when it comes to things like glass. I'm totally down for doing that on the glass, because all the glass panes have like these tile entities here, these micro blocks, which take up lots of information. For every single glass window, there's also micro blocks, so that's pretty bad. We'll see if we can get that fixed. Also, there is a shit ton on the Omega Co. Crisstek headquarters. An absolute shit ton. You can see some of them there on those paneling, but on the windows themselves, there's an absolute ton. So if there's a way I think what I can do, and I think this is what I will do, stained. So we have two different, like, we have lime stained glass, and then we have another mod, Mine Factory Reloaded. Then we have even another one from Tinker's Construct. So what I'm thinking is, because these have... Oh no, wait, that doesn't have a connected texture. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I know some of these have connected textures, like this one. I just need to figure out, you know, a way of doing it. You know, those two glass colors aren't that far off from each other. If they had panes... No, actually, panes wouldn't work. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm thinking I might do something like this. Because not only will it will it separate the glass with these bars, just like I need them to look up there, but it will make windows look like they have different amounts of light coming through them, almost as if, you know how you look at a city skyline and you see all the windows and some of them have lights coming through and some of them don't? Well, it might be possible to achieve that to even a better effect by doing stuff like that, because those two colors of glass aren't that far off from each other. But it kind of makes it look like each window pane is an individual window pane instead of just a wall of windows separated by some lines, which is something that I want to go for. But that would significantly cut down on the amount of tile entities that I have to use. So I think I'm going to do that with the windows. I think that would be really good. I'll try that with a number of them, and I don't think these are tile entities. I think these are metadata blocks, which is significantly lighter on the performance, so I'll do that. But if we look over here, and hopefully this loads up, we have a very nice mountain landscape in the back there. I chose this biome for the center of the city because it looks amazing. It's got this orange light, this orange sky, and I think that's just really cool. Makes everything feel hot. Sort of. Not so much hot, but just, I don't know, that futuristic Judge Dredd feel, sort of. So let's see if we can get those mountains to spawn in, load in, whatever. Come on. Because it looks really great, and I want the mountains in the background for some of the shots. There they go. See how tall those are getting? That's really great. I think that's a really cool feature. You know, in the future, who knows what mountains will look like. The world could be devastated by something, and the landscape has just been altered drastically, you know? I think that's really neat. There's a ton of lighting errors and stuff, as you can see. Something that annoys the shit out of me, because they said they fixed that. They said they fixed that before this version of Minecraft, and it's never been fixed. There are always lighting errors. Always. It's terrible. It's terrible. So yeah, I'm going to continue laying out this road work. You probably won't see much in terms of a difference in what I've accomplished since the last episode, or since this episode, after you view this one. I can't get enough of that to load in. I'm not going to sit here all day waiting for that. But yeah, I'm thinking so far what I've got is turning out to be good. I think the plan is great. I'm going to try and vary some of the terrain, but in some areas I really want to have it be like just a flat grid. Varying the terrain is something that I'd have to like figure out depending on the road situation, which is just like a pain. I don't really know if I want to do that. Some of the buildings I haven't designed yet, and they're very tall, so I have to make sure I give them enough room. Just a whole bunch of stuff. Just a whole bunch of stuff. But so far what I have is looking good. I'm liking the way this this map turned out. The biomes and the potential layout for the city. It's going to possibly be a little bit smaller than I anticipated, but that's okay. I don't really mind. In the end, it's still going to look great. Oh god, I didn't realize that was going through to the river. Huh. I'm also going to have rivers that cut through the city and make some nice dynamic changes to the layout. But anyway, that's what I have for now. Thank you for watching. This was just like an update video on my progress. Expect one of these a week if I've made progress, that is. And other than that, thank you again. I will see you all next time.